Miguel, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here this evening.
Thank you.
It was quite the instant meeting you, seeing you early in the morning. That early in the morning, I always come here early.
Yeah,
I'm here
very
at
early.
5:45, so you're here at 5:45 at that time. You're walking, I just want to let people know. You have to hear how I met him
Right.
and what happened as a result of it. I was walking in here, I saw you, this tall guy, taller than me. What are you now? You're
188.
188, because I'm
Yeah.
182.
Okay.
So you got, but when I first met him, you were 3 or 4? Something
Probably
like that?
around there, yeah.
3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Completely changed. I don't know who he is, but I see this strapping young man walking across there, and I said, "Are you about to go swimming?" And he said, "No, I'm going to teach swimming." I said,
Right.
"Oh, you're going to go teach swimming?"
Right.
I said, "Yes." He said, "I was in the Olympics. The Spain, you were
Yes,
for the
Spain.
country of Spain." He said, "I competed in the Olympics." I said, "Whoa, they're going to be lucky to have you up there." He waits until we get into the elevator, and then he says, "You know what, Mr. Lane? You taught me when I was a little kid. My mother's Tammy." I went, and you just let me go through all that and you didn't even tell me? Come on. He said, "Yeah, me and my brother." And I said, "Yes, remember your father as well."
Yep.
That's what I like about this community.
Absolutely.
It's big, but it's small. Are you just visiting now, or are you?
No, I'm based here.
You're based here.
Yeah, I'm based here now. I mean, I was in the U.S. for 8 years, but I came back 5 years ago.
So okay, so take me through it. Okay, wait,
Sure,
first of all,
sure.
okay. So I can leave you from, you went to Nishimachi, I think.
No,
Did
St.
you?
Mary's.
You went to St. Mary's the
Yeah.
whole time, so you're a St. Mary's guy.
Half, because I actually went to Japanese public school.
Okay, when? How old were you when you went there?
Well, I went to Japanese Hoikuen Shogakko, so
Okay.
elementary school through Honmura Shogakko here in Minamiyazabu.
Right.
And then later on, I moved to St. Mary, 7th grade, and that's where I started learning English.
Okay, because you didn't know English at all.
Well,
But
not
when you
yeah.
with me, you understood. Yeah, that's right. You didn't speak a lot, but you did understand what I was saying to you.
Right.
Right.
I still remember the I can at
That's
the
right,
end and
that's
everything
right,
like
that's
that.
right.
yeah. So I do
It was
remember that.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So yeah, I went through St. Mary's. Of course, the first 2-3 years was quite hard with the ESL, all these things, learning English to begin with. And of course, I was a swimmer at the time, so I continued swimming throughout high school. Never thought it would take me to the level that I ended up in.
Did you have aspirations to ever go to that level? Or was it
to be
people
honest-
noticing your talent?
To be honest, now that I see my elementary school paper, I wrote like a little paper saying like, "What is your dream?" And it says "Suie no senshu," which is just a swimming athlete. Doesn't mean much. So I never really had in mind the Olympics or anything like that until I was in the 20s. And that was actually the first time that I made the Spanish team. So I never represented a country until I was in my 20s.
Were you trying to represent? Were you thinking about it at all, or you just happened to be
mean,
that good?
I happened to be, I guess I improved a lot in college, especially. And from that point, I started to see, well, a lot of people around me went to the Olympics as well in college. Even people, Michael Phelps actually was training a year before that at University of Michigan.
But he's U.S., yeah, right?
Yeah,
University of
so I
Michigan.
went to Michigan, and of course there's a lot of culture shock, but everything pointed to me to become a better athlete, better student. So at the end, I had the dreams of pursuing that path to be an athlete, and of course, the ultimate goal as an athlete, especially for a swimmer, is the Olympics.
So that was prior to you being 20.
Right. So around the 19, maybe 20 even, I started to visualize that I could go to the Olympics.
But you knew you weren't going to do it as the U.S.
No, because I'm not American.
Okay, right.
Yeah, some Spanish, Japanese,
Right.
also a little bit Brazilian.
So
But,
you could you have swam for the Japanese team?
I could have. And actually, I would have made it in 2016. But I think my brother would have been bumped out because we both swam the relay. So at the end of the day, I think we chose the right country to swim for.
Your brother and you swam together?
Yes.
He was in the Olympics too.
He went to the Olympics as well. He went to Michigan as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're always together throughout the swimming career. And very fortunate enough, we made the team from Spain, participated in Rio through the relay. And we also have family there, so it was quite exciting.
Wow. So you grew up speaking Japanese, Spanish?
I actually learned Portuguese first.
Portuguese, I'm sorry.
Portuguese. No,
Yes.
but then Spanish, of course, with my father,
Right.
Japanese through the environment, and then again, English was the very last. language.
Okay.
Hopefully not the last, but yes.
But that's the one that you really had to study in the most, the hardest.
Right. So that was tough, but definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking back, but yes, the 4 languages.
Now, my sons did something similar to that. I had
Okay.
them in Japanese elementary school, Shogako, and I let them do just a year in Shugako,
Yeah.
then back to international school.
Right.
Do you think that was a good idea to do it that way?
I mean, I can speak from 2 perspectives. One is the academic and one is the athletic for me. Going to, I guess the biggest shock going through the English system, I'll say even St. Mary's and also university. In some aspects, I think there's no discipline compared to the Japanese system, but there's more creativity. People voice themselves. There's not really a, you don't have to be one thing. You can be anybody you want. But in the Japanese system, of course, there's a little bit of that aspect where you have to follow the rules, you have to be a part of the group, the society, community. So I think there's many ways to look at it, but academically speaking, I learned a lot from both. I think, of course, the English system helps me more now. Athletically speaking, definitely the St. Mary's and University of Michigan, so American system was definitely a best fit for me in terms of being an athlete. That competitiveness and that drive, motivation, even teamwork aspect is quite strong, and that's still engraved in me. So those are the I guess, differences.
So, but then again, you only knew the elementary part. So do you think that helped you to understand the culture better? Going to the Japanese culture.
Sure. Yes, definitely.
Because you came into the U.S. system or the English-speaking system late, after your formative years. So you're at a disadvantage.
I mean, it could be a disadvantage, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're in Japan. So even if I go to St. Mary's, I mean, I speak Japanese, and some of the kids at St. Mary's don't speak Japanese because they're traveling through the world, which good for them. But in that ways, I see it as an advantage, knowing the culture, knowing the language, but also being able to understand the other people in a setting like that. So I definitely am appreciative of both at the end of the day.
Well, your parents always kept you in an international environment, though. So even though you were in Japanese school, you were doing international stuff. You were in our program, for example, when you were young. And there's nothing but international kids there.
Right.
So even if you weren't using English all the time, you were being trained in it.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. And definitely the public school that I went to had a lot of embassy kids. Honmura Shogoko has a lot of English-speaking kids, I would say. So I definitely grew up in a more internationalized environment than any other Japanese schools, I would say.
You and your brothers, did you grow up to stay close? Were you guys really, really close as brothers?
Yes, definitely. People don't really see us as brothers because we don't look alike. But at the end of the day, we did go through our whole life together, including school, swimming. So of course, we are very close. We don't really fight.
You never did you?
I mean, when we were young, a little bit, but never physical or anything like that. I mean,
I don't think
even
your mother and
now,
father would let it.
Yeah, I guess I had very strict parents as well in that sense. So
they wouldn't let you go too far.
Yes, exactly. So no, we were very, very good as brothers. Of course, he's in Tokyo right now. So
is he staying too in Tokyo?
Yes, he works here. And
so how long was he outside of Tokyo? The same as you?
He was out until 2020.
So how many years?
So he was out since 2011, so 9 years.
9 years.
2011 to 2020.
So a little bit longer than you.
Yeah, I was 8 years, so yes. But he also lived in Spain, so at the end of the day...
You didn't?
I did not.
How long did you live in Spain?
2.5 years, 3 years. He did a master's there, and he was training himself to go to the next Olympics.
And you decided not to?
I retired after 2016.
Okay.
It was, I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to start my second career.
Right. Did he get in? Did he make it?
He didn't make it, unfortunately, but at the end of the day, the whole journey and the experience matters more than the actual thing. So.
Yeah, it's always the journey.
Yes.
People miss out on that. And you're not done, even if you do accomplish it, you do the next.
Right.
I'll probably cut this out, but I really think people are at a disadvantage when they start thinking about retirement. I think that's such a bunch of stuff they sold to mankind.
I see.
We all are going to retire.
Yeah.
When our body stops moving. It's called death.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So why would you have some artificial idea that because of some arbitrary age, you don't do anything anymore?
Yeah. It's a bit ironic.
Really?
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay, so tell me, either of you, I don't know how personal I can get, but are either of you married?
No, we're both single. I mean, I have a long-term relationship. My brother, I don't think he has one yet.
All right. Well, he's still young.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's young. We're both young.
Yeah, that's true. Both of you are still young, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just a year older than my youngest. You said
I'm 32.
Oh, you're 2 years young. So you're the same age as my
The third one.
who's married.
Okay.
Understood. Yeah. College. What did you study while you were in college?
So I studied economics in college, but I got my master's in hotel and restaurant management. So I was interested in the hospitality industry while I was swimming. The reason being is actually my father's business was in casinos in Spain, and I always wanted to add a little bit more of the hospitality hotel aspect to the family business. Well, unfortunately, we don't have that business anymore, but my interest sort of switched to the Japanese casino legalization, which happened in 2016, which was perfect timing for me to switch careers. I was looking to the hospitality industry, and I knew that a lot of the international operators were going to be bidding and proposing to the government here. So I really wanted to get into that industry, and that's why I was studying hospitality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's still ongoing.
It is ongoing.
And you don't know how much longer it's going to keep on ongoing.
Right.
Because everyone thought for a second there it was going to happen real quick.
But it's Japan, right?
But not just that, and also COVID hit.
Yeah. The
COVID
was
prior to COVID, it looked like, because the Olympics were going to happen,
yes,
and they were really on top of it. And they were planning on having something happen then.
Right. And the expo in Osaka,
That's right.
2025.
That's right.
So it was a lot of synergy. It made sense.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to be working for an operator from Macau. So I had a lot of fun learning about the industry. But of course, with COVID, I had to make other plans after that.
So what are your plans now?
So I actually established a company with my girlfriend, and then we have a company together, very close by. We have a marketing agency, and we're having fun. It's been almost 2 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you market?
We market Japanese companies, especially the companies that require a little bit more assistance globalizing, especially in the marketing side. So we publish their stories on international media, so U.S. media usually.
And have you been pretty successful in doing that? Have you enjoyed what you've been doing?
Definitely. There's a lot of companies in Japan. There's a lot of SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises that require assistance, and there's always a synergy of how Japan they have so much technology, advanced technology, but they don't know how to voice it. So we just try to come in and help out, and at the end there's a synergy between our company and theirs, and so we're lucky enough to have enough clients.
So what are the different roles between yours and my partners? Yes.
So my partner does the field work, I'll say.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do more of the back of the house, and also starting other revenue sources. So we have different roles, which is good. I think that's what keeps us sane. Instead
of trying to do the same thing.
Right. And I think critiquing ourselves too much every day, having the same role, it was probably not good for the relationship as well.
Did you try that at any time?
No, I think we already knew that this is yours and this is mine. We work together, and we have a clear-cut line to draw. And also, we have some business that we do it together, of course, but that's just a little bit more on the side, not the main component of the company.
Is it different from what you're doing? Something completely different?
It's more on the brokerage side. So we connect companies to the international media directly, so they can work together, have a collaboration, sort of thing. That's sort of the projects that I lead, and she, of course, helps me. The project that she has is she has a lot more resources in terms of staff and everybody, so I don't need to really help that much.
I see.
Yeah.
And you're here based in Tokyo, of course?
Yes, based in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, right next to Tokyo Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to see what your company name is?
It's Global Kigyo. So we're trying to really just promote the fact that everybody should be a Global Kigyo. a company, a global company. Yeah.
That is neat.
So.
So, what are your plans for the future for your company?
We're trying to expand. We're definitely trying to go to other countries as well. There's some ideas. I think once it gets more concrete, I can share more.
Okay.
But at the moment, we have a lot of ideas and a lot of opportunities that we need to choose our battles first. So,
Right. Have you had any challenges here that you think you were uniquely set up for because of your experience here? Is your partner experienced with Japan too?
yes, she is. But she is not a Japanese speaker.
Okay.
So
that's a disadvantage in a way.
in a way,
Right.
but sometimes it's an advantage.
She
when we
knows how to
utilize
work it. She knows how to work it.
Yes.
Okay.
So she definitely breaks all the barriers.
Okay. And can do it and get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think that's a good balance that we have. I know the Japanese culture. I know how to go, more Japanese way in contacting companies, building the relationship. She can tear down those barriers, go directly to whoever she needs to talk to, which is great. So yeah, it's going really well in that sense.
That's right. So have you had to come in, like, let's say, for example, did you have anyone that was particularly hard that you felt really good as a result of, and you knew it was because you knew how to handle it, that you still recall?
Like a moment that I had to come in?
Come in because it was, and probably a real big, it didn't have to be a big deal, but something that was challenging.
I mean, there are moments that a contract gets canceled, for example. In those moments, of course, I have to come in, apologize for our service not being what they expected. And of course, there are ways that you need to apologize to take care of the client so they don't talk badly about us, because that is the most important thing in Japan. It's about word of mouth and having a good reputation. So we have to do the best we can to minimize the, the risk in that aspect. So in that, I was definitely able to help her in those challenging moments. And it definitely is because I know the Japanese culture and how to work around it.
I'm sure. I hope that wasn't often. That's only maybe once.
No, that was once.
One time, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good moment to learn for both of us.
But it's unfortunate they say that experience is something you get 10 minutes after you really need it.
Okay, that's good to know, actually.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's no way to learn. I always like to use the example of teaching my sons how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
When I pushed them along and they went out there riding and they were okay and nothing happened, the time they really learned to ride is after they hit the ground, realized the pain of hitting the ground. The next time I pushed them, they rode with a purpose. They were up there knowing, because they knew. They knew that. But prior to that, they were just so relaxed and didn't have a clue. Some people are taught that when they're young. Failure is necessary, and it shouldn't be called failure.
Sure.
That's the experience you need in order to continue to go forward.
Yeah.
And if you keep on having that experience, you're not going to be successful in what you're doing. People aren't going to be around you. They don't like hitting the ground.
Yeah.
If you get on, every time you get on it, you're hitting the ground. No one's going to want to ride with you.
Yeah. You'll be smarter for sure.
That's right. So you start minimizing it, but it's necessary.
Yes.
It is a necessary thing to happen in life.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't stop just because the first time you hit it. If you decide you want to continue to ride, you're still going to have another time. Yeah. You try to minimize it, maybe get some padding and a couple other things and learn.
Prepare.
Right, prepare. But you can never prepare for surprise.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you ever try to do business or anything in the U.S.?
Of course, I wanted to work in the U.S. at some point. Of course, after college, I really wanted to stay in the U.S., but I think the opportunity of being a part of something new, which was the casino opportunity in Japan, something that doesn't exist, was quite exciting. And of course, having the background as a Japanese, I think that helped my decision to come back to Japan. And business-wise, of course, U.S. is a great place to be, but at that time and the opportunity, it was, for me, I think it was meant to be and to come back to Tokyo.
Okay. Is your father here, or is he still?
No, he's not. He's actually, he bounces around Spain and Philippines.
Is he doing, what does he do? What's his business?
He's an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur.
He always has been.
So he does different projects. I don't even know half of his projects. So very interesting, though. Every time I talk to him.
You told me you were just with him.
Yes,
right?
yes.
You guys went
yes, we had a little boys' trip because we all have similar birthdays, very close. So
you
my
mean
brother,
the three of you?
Yes, the three of us, all February. So we all went to Philippines to just enjoy and have fun.
Yeah, I like your father. I never forget him. I can't forget him. I hope I get to see you again sometime. Fantastic. Yeah, we used to talk a lot when you guys would be in the class because I had a lot of instructors.
Right.
And they were doing it. So I come out and talk with your mom and your dad and your grandmother.
Yeah.
Your mother's mother.
Yes.
Is she still here?
Yes. Yes. She is.
How old is she now? How old is she now?
She is 81.
Okay.
Turning 82 soon. Yeah.
But she never learned Japanese. She ever learned Japanese?
I mean, her Japanese is good enough to live here.
To live here.
Yeah.
But at that time, she wasn't speaking hardly any.
I don't think so. That was like 25 years ago.
That's right. She was just speaking Portuguese, I think, at that time.
Yes.
Right.
No, you're right. So now she's fine. She goes to the gym by herself every single day. Yeah. So she has her, gym buddies, gym friends. So
that's neat.
No, it's very nice.
So what do you think that there's anything exciting as far as you maybe starting another business, or have you looked in other areas? Because the casino business isn't here now, so.
Well, there is, but not the company that I was working for.
Right.
So for me, I sort of moved on, and I'm going to wait it out a little bit, how the market turns, and maybe if they issue the first license to a company, which is, I think there's one company that might get it, then I think Japan might pick up a little bit of the pace and start giving out a little more licenses for other regions.
You're going to try to get a license?
Well, I mean, if I can work for a company that's pursuing that, that would be fun. I definitely had a lot of fun the past 3 years that I was working for this company.
Well, what did you do to that 3 years? Because were they really gearing? They were gearing up to open a casino.
It was gearing up to propose to the government and the regional governor, local governments.
Right.
So I was just a part of the planning team to visualize and, of course, bring this dream to the government to approve it. And of course, having the Japanese background, I had to study a little bit more the market, understanding the customers, because of course we need to always have the domestic market secured for the business. And that's sort of the role that I had, was to communicate the Japanese culture and Japanese interest to the stakeholders. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Before I end the podcast, Miguel, there's always a question I like to ask everyone.
Okay.
Now, if you've been watching the podcast, you may know.
Maybe.
All right. Let's say magically somehow or another you could go back in time.
Sure.
And you could see the younger Miguel. Knowing what you know now, what time would you go back to in your life, and what advice would you give the younger Miguel?
Honestly, I'm quite happy with my path and my journey so far, so I think I'll just let it go. I don't need to really give any advice. I mean, I'll give an advice, but not to really direct any decision making per se, but I think to keep like friends close, the family close, is quite important.
And you've been doing that.
I've been doing that, and also they bring a lot of, whether that's love or whatever it is, but it's always positive. So I quite like having that community that I can always rely on, and maybe I'll re-emphasize that to my younger self, because now I appreciate it way more than back then. So
there's one thing I know about St. Mary's: they are tight.
Yeah.
Once a St. Mary's guy, you are always a St. Mary's guy.
Yeah. Very.
They
very
are
much.
really. I mean, in the way that I mean, you can really help each other.
Yes.
That's something other schools can't necessarily say to the extent that St. Mary's does.
Yeah, St. Mary's is, I'll say, quite special in that sense. Of course, I reach out to alumni, and they always are, they're always willing to help. And whether it comes out something or not, doesn't matter. But the whole purpose of that, being an alumni, is to help out the younger, I think. And right now I'm doing that as well. I actually hired one.
But you're young. You are the younger one.
Right. But I did hire one St. Mary's kohai to the company that we currently have.
And he knows he has to do the right thing.
Well, I mean, he's a good guy, so I don't think there's a pressure, but maybe from the St. Mary's environment, there's a little bit of pressure, yes.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes, but yeah, like you said, very, very tight-knit community, and very, very interesting.
I hired the first enrollment of St. Mary's graduate, and I was president of this club as general manager. Tony Callan.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Bill Ireton came up to me and said, well,
really?
Who's also St. Mary's, and said, this is a guy you need to be thinking about.
Did he highlight the St. Mary's?
I knew what it was. He wouldn't be doing it otherwise. Right. So yes, and I think we couldn't have been better off, because he was a really good GM. I enjoyed him being here. At least during my term, I enjoyed that.
I think I only overlapped for like a month.
Is that right?
Yeah, I only joined like a year and a half ago. So.
Well, thank you, Miguel.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate this.
No, likewise. This is a lot of fun, actually.
I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And never forget, it's all unknown, so continue to reach for the stars because you're too blessed to be stressed.